Arcitys side, as they may have to huddle in quite quickly. Here comes the glide bomb. It has Felony's name written all over it, as it will be the early numbers at the hands of FaZe, and quickly it is John left up all by himself. A 1 versus 3. Could get some nice timing, takes out Arcitys, but it will be a round for FaZe and a game for Atlanta as well, as they rebound here on the Desert Siege and take this bad boy 6 rounds to 3.
And now the series is tied up at 1 apiece. That is what we were expecting. Atlanta FaZe to respond in their game mode. S&D has always been their bread and butter ever since this roster has been formed, and they get the job done to just now tie the series up at 1 apiece. And that was just great work from the entire team. You had the Tiny Terrors who were consistently attacking towards the middle map, attacking that middle building, just trying to set the tone. But look at the stat line coming in from Cellium. The guy went on a 9 spree to close out the game. He single-handedly shuts down a B push from Paris Legion 1 round. Then the following round, when Paris Legion try to do it again, he finds 2, catches a player rotating over towards A, gives him another 3. The guy just had himself a map, and he wasn't doing it with a sniper. You usually see someone holding on the left side of the map with a sniper, but this is what makes Cellium such a great player. The guy doesn't miss, had himself a map number 2.
Yeah, and despite what has been, more of a slower, start to Vanguard, we talked about the Kickoff Classic and obviously the very first map of this series, Cellium has been great the entire time. I mean, he still had like a 1.17 somewhere around that versus Seattle, still plays well in the opening Gavutu, and then puts up 13 in that Search and Destroy. As you said, my friend, didn't even need the sniper throughout a majority of that. Just has the most accurate of shots, pixel perfect, is good old young MC. As now Atlanta FaZe are going to even out this series at 1-1. But folks, we still have Gavutu again. We're going to be going back to that map for some control when we come back after this short break.
of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
All right, welcome back, folks, to CDL opening weekend. If you're just joining us, where have you been? We're taking a look at our Game Fuel tactical play, and Jay, aBeZy's got his name written all over this bad boy.
Yeah, it was beautiful, man. The fact that he was able to rush right up the middle of the map through that B-bomb site to work his way all the way behind the players of Paris Legion. And then once you get to that position, it gets kind of scary, but the veteran presence that he brings, the trigger discipline that he brings right there as well, able to find not one, not two, but 3 kills on the flank. And then at this point, once Simp gives up his life, it's all on Temp. You know his positioning. You give up that kill to aBeZy. You let the young man get the ace. Because that was a highlight reel in its own, man. The fact that he was able to do that on Desert Siege, run right through the B-bomb uncontested and get behind them at train side, you usually do not see that happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, shout out to Zuma, a flank-esque type of play. Wonderful stuff coming through from aBeZy there as he, one of the many rounds that really kind of drove it home for the Atlanta FaZe as they now even the score at 1 game apiece. But still, we got to talk about it, Jay. That opening loss that Atlanta FaZe suffers on Gavutu Hardpoint, we talked about it. We talked about how this could be maybe a strategy moving forward. We're going to be revisiting this map for now some control, and we have seen Atlanta FaZe play on this very map at the Kickoff Classic, and it was not a pretty sight, my friend. A 3-0 loss to Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle so far, at least what they've shown us, they are the best control team that we have throughout the game. The only team that was able to take them down is Toronto, but it was on Tuscan. This is their bread and butter. So if you're Atlanta FaZe, at least it has to start with the consistency from your AR players. Like with Simp running your 3rd AR, you have to make sure that you're picking up these kills because they're so dependent on a map like Gavutu.
Yeah, and we'll see what Legion can try and provide us with. Again, they showed some grit in the opening Gavutu respawn. They'll have to now do it here on some control. And the problem is for Paris Legion, you can quickly get put in a spawn trap if you're not careful. The only player who still happens to be past the 50-yard line is going to be Tyler Fellow, alone, waiting, hoping that his teammates can come off of spawn. Thankfully, they will. Given the fact of Arcitys' position, they are going to grant them that closer spawn now toward that front ship. Arcitys now looks for somewhat of a pinch, but we're already a minute on in toward this opening round, and Paris have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, but Temp, he was able to at least find that kill onto Simp. So now this could potentially open up this 8-point Paris Legion. But still great spots coming in from the Atlanta FaZe players. You see number 6 trying to work his way towards ring, not allowing any players to try to overextend, to try to get towards that B point. As his teammates across the map are winning every single gunfight. Last player is going to be here is going to be Decimate, as he does hop on the point, but Arcitys is set up beautifully with the crossfire, able to take down one. And with 20 seconds left, this has been a dominant defensive round from Atlanta.
Yeah, and when we talk about lives, I mean, if this thing can even go to a round 5, they're already sitting quite pretty in that scenario as well. Nobody able to get really past that cliff position. Maybe finally a little bit of an opening as John, the saving grace, takes down Simp in a 1v1, and they will have a few teammates off spawn to join them. So the stack is in, the first tick is through, and Atlanta, they're not going to allow for this one to go to waste. They are going to try to attack this, but once more, it's John doing big things inside of the point. His teammate gets dropped, but he is still holding this one down. Not just 1 tick, now make it 2. He cannot afford to get off of this objective because that will allow for the clock to continue to run, and it appears that his run will falter as well. Atlanta able to rebound, finally take down John inside a bottom ship. They do that, and they claim a well-rounded first round here in control.
And that was just great work from Atlanta, especially right off the rip. I'm pretty sure they were able to take down 3 Paris Legion players, and that eventually allowed aBeZy to just push straight on the cliffside, potentially put them in that spawn trap, finding easy kills left and right. And when you have such a start off like that, if you're Paris Legion, you're coming off spawn like, hey, there's a guy that's potentially at beachside watching our cross, and we know that it's going to be a guy at cliff. We just have to play our kills. We do not want to fall deep into this kill deficit if we do get to that round number 5, but Atlanta FaZe, they were able to hold. So now they go on the offense. Arcitys opens up the first blood, and they're already going to get on this 8-point.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Some solid aggression already displayed from Atlanta in the opening defense. aBeZy already flying out toward the bottom side of the ship. He just wants to get the call, and the call he will have. Shuts down John as Atlanta continue to apply the pressure toward the middle side of the map. Not only are they still fighting for bottom ship, but Arcitys in a great position to maybe challenge it B. John and the rest of Paris are going to read this one. And that's the issue for Legion at this point. You got to clear these players off as quick as possible. And it looks as if they will be successful in doing that. However, when it comes to the other side of the map, not nearly as successful. aBeZy still alive and thriving for a moment as he gets dropped as well. 50 seconds left in Atlanta. A third of the way there at that A objective.
But so far, this has been a great hold from Paris Legion. They're keeping the kills stagnant. No one is dropping at the same exact time. So trades are just going back and forth. And with 40 seconds left on this clock, only one tick of progression coming in from Atlanta FaZe, as they are going to have multiple people now starting to commit towards this 8 point. Decimate able to find one, Temp finds a second. That's going to be another 3 dead. Now all left up to one player, which is going to be Cellium. He gets one, but it's still only 30 seconds left. Atlanta FaZe need to get on one of these points.
Have to do something. Decimate gets great timing as Cellium was in the middle of climbing up the ladder. Granted, that pistol can be excellent in certain spots, but Decimate gets the good timing, later traded on out. 2 FaZe players now sit inside the bottom part of the ship. In Paris, they've got a few players displayed toward that P1 position as well. They're going to look for some sort of a pinch. This fellow takes down 2 off the rip. Temp also shuts down aBeZy, but being aware of that time, Cellium makes the sacrifice and decides to go ahead and stop the clock now over at that B position. And this is going to make one player from Legion now make it 2, have to challenge at the opposite end. Atlanta, back and forth we go, continuing to juggle, continuing to make Paris have to guess for where they're going to be at next. Simp stopping the clock now at 4.3 seconds, a few players there, and they will be able to hold on. Another minute added, but down 4 lives right now are Atlanta.
Yeah, Paris Legion, if I was them, I would have probably contested that because you have the live advantage. You don't want to give up that 8 point, give them a chance to try to get towards B since there was only 4 seconds left. But now with 50 seconds on the clock, see Atlanta trying to attack towards that top ring side. You have one player who's going to be sitting in towards top ship. He's eventually going to get flanked, which is going to be Simp. And he's going to get taken down. So now with 35 seconds left, you have 2 players who are approaching ring as Temp is hitting shots like that. But this is going to be difficult for Atlanta FaZe. They have like 1 or 2 more good pushes at this. Well, basically 1, as Paris Legion are pushing all the way in their spawn, not allowing any breaths from Atlanta FaZe.
Yeah, Paris essentially make the decision for Atlanta. You want to? No, you've only got 1 opportunity. And Temp maybe even denying that as well. Atlanta turtling up in their base, maybe just aware of the fact that, hey, we're not going to be able to get to B anyway. Let's just try to play the lives and just be focused on that side of things. A nice kill for aBeZy, but in the end, it will be the Legion equaling out Atlanta in terms of the defenses and securing a solid round of their own. Now 1-1.
1-1. The only thing that's kind of scary now is that Atlanta FaZe, at least in their first defensive round, they were able to outslay by an extra 2 kills. So if it does go to that round 5, right now Atlanta FaZe are leading in that department. But if you're Paris Legion, that's a great response to win your very own defense. You do not allow that 8 point to give up so easily. Even though you probably could have saved it with 4 seconds left, you still were able to hold it down towards that top ring, winning a majority of those gunfights to close it out. But now they go back on the offensive attack. You do not want to go 3 down off the rip and allow Atlanta FaZe to get pushed up in your spawn once again.
Yeah, that's a great call, partner. That's exactly what went down for Paris. They essentially put themselves in a slump off the rip. These early engagements so big for the attacking side. It will be a 2-1 advantage in our initial gunfights there for FaZe. But clearing out a lane, it appears that really Atlanta focusing a lot of attention inside of green, also trying to be aware of anybody hitting a flank. But a nice double headshot coming in from Decimate will absolutely open up this boat. This fellow sits inside of the bottom ship. The rest of his teammates are slaying out toward the top side. FaZe have really yet to see that much of this objective, but a nice shot's coming in from Cellium. The nade over the top side from Simp is able to clear things off for now, but we've got a streak inbound as well, at least gaining some information at the very least. FaZe continue to cycle in 1 by 1, but it's not mattering at all. They're going to go and grab this 8 point, and they're putting pressure on the spawn already. Decimate is already going to be a B.
Yeah, this is kind of scary right now. If you are Atlanta FaZe, they went at least a clean 4 dead. This is going to allow these players to start pushing through green. Just pay attention to your minimap. It's going to be Felony able to sneak his way through the back. One player on Atlanta does spot him, so they take care of him for the time being. A still has not been captured, so Atlanta FaZe are going to try to put some pressure on this. They're not going to allow this time to be extended by a minute as they take down another 2 players. One more player trying to approach towards top cliff, but with 40 seconds left, if you're Paris Legion, you have to make sure you capture this 8 point before you move on to the next task.
Yeah, right. That's exactly the problem. Legion, they decide to jump off the point. They think, hey, surely we've got this one. We know Decimate's on the other side of the map. When in reality, they're not able to secure it. FaZe with a huge moment. Playing off of the mistake from Paris as they will finally be able to jump right back in this one. But you have to imagine, in regards to lives, in regards to time, It does slow them down a bit. So 1 minute and 20 to work with. No progression made yet over at B. But I feel like the focus is going to be on somebody like John. Somebody to make a play, get on the flank, push through that green side, and allow for FaZe to not feel nearly as comfortable. Atlanta with a solid setup for the moment, and John with a nice and early pick there on the Simp.
Yeah, so now it's all about just working this backside. You have a minute to do so. You have a 3 live advantage for the time being, as they are going to be able to find aBeZy off the spawn. Look at number 3 in the minimap, though, as Temp's going to be able to come behind Simp. So now it's all on 2 players from Atlanta FaZe who will push that towards top ring, as you're going to have a couple players spawning in towards green. John is just playing for the spawn kills. He knows everything about the game. And now 17-10 with 40 seconds left. Paris Legion, they're just looking to slay. They're playing the kills. They're not even hopping the point.
John from the skies. All right, didn't know he had a vertical like that, but John, unbelievable leap. Sky jumping in from the jungle side, and you can tell they're not even playing around the objective. They're just realizing the kills. They're aware of the spawns here on the defensive side for Gavutu, and making FaZe work for everything. Now 16-7 in lives. It looks as if the spawns have flipped. That's not even possible. Paris now pushing on in, and here comes the streak from John. They're going to have to be careful with this. 24 seconds, but John has got his teammates back. Still hop on the objective. Atlanta now with no respawns left. It's going to come down to a 4 versus 14 in total. Simp taken down an early 2, but Legion in such a good position, watching over each other's back. I believe that John did fall on the objective, so that one is going to sit off in the distance for the moment, but it's down to the final 2 players. Simp and Cellium all by their lonesome. Now up to MC, a 1v10. Here comes the streak, and good night to FaZe, an attacking win there out of the Legion.
And that's just great work from the Legion. I thought it was kind of getting scary towards the end of that game. I mean, towards the end of that round. But Paris Legion, when they were playing for those spawn kills, it was about 45 seconds left. They attacked the guys at ring, and they were able to win those gunfights. They were able to pick up some streaks as well. But then towards the very end, if I'm Cellium and if I'm Simp, all you have to do is basically watch that cross. And I know it's an 11v2, but there was only 10 seconds left. You don't have to really commit towards any gunfights. But Paris Legion, that was a beautiful, beautiful offensive round, which it looked like it almost got away from them. They almost didn't cap that A point, but they were able to pick up some streaks, able to close out that B point, and now take our very first offense of the map.
Yeah, and now that puts all the pressure on the FaZe. When we talk about round 5, if they can even get there, Paris lay the way that they do, they look good. They maybe have the defense coming into that round 5, but the thing is, FaZe are going to have to pull off something special to also now take an attack. aBeZy deciding to push all the way up toward B, and there goes Cellium as well. So not the greatest of starts for Atlanta on the other side as well. They try to make some noise at the opposite end and bait out the Legion, but that is not at all end up working out in their favor. Again, another big spot for FaZe in a roster, Jay, where we talked about Atlanta. This team was winning 82% of their controls last year, already showing some signs of wavering on this map, specifically here in Gavutu. John continuing to try and be an issue, decides to flank around, gets the nice timing, takes down one tiny terror, and aBeZy gets dealt with as well there from Fellow. Atlanta, 30 seconds left, and as we said, nothing to show for it yet in regards to the objective. It's time to pile in over at A, but Temp sits in a power spot. He gets dropped.
And now Paris Legion, they have them in the trap. If they can win at least this rotation of gunfights right here, if they can get a clean 4 dead, this map will be theirs. With only 15 seconds left. Atlanta FaZe need to put some pep in their step. They need to try to get on this A point.
We'll see if they can do that. 8 seconds. The time continues to go away, but Decimate, he jumps in from the top. He jumps in from the top. He's also got another player in his sights, and he takes him down as well. Final few seconds. Nobody from FaZe is going to be able to get to the point in time. And how about Paris Legion? Not just once, but twice. Striking FaZe here in the respawns. And also doing it again on Gavutu.
This is unreal. This is
what is happening, Jay?
What is happening? Usually, the perfect formula to beat Atlanta FaZe is to take one respawn and to win a majority of your search and destroys. But the fact that they have lost 2 respawns here versus Paris Legion, they make it look easy on Gavutu. Like right there, once again, they're basically shutting down the tiny terrors. Look at that. You have aBeZy, who's 15 and 26. You have Simp, who's 16 and 23. They're just not comfortable on this map. Paris Legion, they are taking full advantage of it, as you have 3 players breaking that 20 kill mark. You have Temp putting up 22 and 13 with 10 assists, 21 non-traded kills. That guy was a menace on the map. Now Paris Legion are up 2-1 in command of this series.
I don't know what to say.
Neither do I, man.
I have no idea.
The year just started.
It did.
It just started, man.
Like we said, the last time, and I know we're talking about it already, the last time that FaZe dropped to the Kickoff Classic last year, right? They go on to their very next match, their very first match of stage 1. They come through and they run through the Guerrillas. They outslay them on every single map. And from there, they go on an 11-match winning spree. We thought the same thing would happen here in their opening match versus the Legion, a roster that's obviously at the bottom of the power rankings, a team that really nobody expects to really contend. And the fact that they're coming through the way that they are and dropping Atlanta FaZe in back-to-back respawns, it is something to write home about. It is something to be excited about. Paris, I know you don't tweet all that often, but now is the time. Now is the time to get loud on social media. You have got Atlanta FaZe potentially right where you want them. An unbelievable start toward this series. And now, Jay, we're talking about a Tuscan Hardpoint. I mean, a map in particular where I know we keep referencing it, but Atlanta not that great on versus the Surge at kickoff either.
Yeah, and the thing that costed them mostly in that series versus Seattle just simply came down to the rotations. From top to bottom, this Atlanta FaZe roster is stacked. They have the capability to break hard points whenever they want to, but you have to keep the fundamentals in play. You have to make sure you're getting early to these hard points because a lot of teams, they're great at holding. And so far, the way that Paris Legion are playing, even based on that first map, the way that they were attacking their breaks was everyone was not going one by one. They were slowing down, allowing them to set up the proper team push. And that's exactly how I think they're going to play on Tuscan. The only thing that's going to be now scary is now that the Tiny Terrorists finally get to both use MP40s here, and now you have to try to shut them down if you're Paris.
Yeah, that's a great call. Like we said, we finally get to see a respawn, if you will, in which the Tiny Terrors will be at full form. But like you said, man, it's still a scary situation if you're Atlanta. I mean, we were already talking about this series. Hey, this is a great chance for them to warm up. This is a good chance for them to really kind of catch their bearings, much like OpTic Texas is looking to do in their next, to be in a situation where Paris is not only just 2-1 up, but the fact that they won both of the respawns. I mean, has Tim the Tapman said that he's choosing FaZe? Is that what happened? Is that what's going on right now?
It has to be. It has to be because the way that Paris Legion are playing, man, they're looking like a complete team. And for a roster that people did not want to play with, they just formed this together. They make the job look easy, at least on Kuavo in the slaying department. They were great off the rotations. They were using their team fights, their crossfire set up perfectly. And so far, Atlanta FaZe is just simply haven't had an answer. So far, they had 3 AR, 2 submachine gun players where you're forcing Simp to run that third AR. He so far has not been comfortable on Kuavo. So now you're going on to a Tuscan. You just have to make sure that you're keeping your fundamentals in play. But I'm looking at John to try to slow down the pressure from the Tiny Terrors. We saw he was able to do on Kuavo map number 1, 25 and 15 with a minute 30. You need to match that energy going into this map 4.
Yeah, I mean, he and Tim specifically have been absolutely unbelievable. Jay, normally in a situation like this, I'd ask you, from the team that's down, hey, what are the